This next video picks up where the last left off. The first book of 2 Kings is where Elijah protects himself, or God protects Elijah as captains of 50 come to get him. Wonderful story. I don't have you read, but you'd be well served if you did anyway. Next we start with the story of Elisha going with Elijah as Elijah is going to be translated. So they go down to Jericho. Alright, so the story goes like this. Elijah talks to Elisha there at Gilgal. He's going to take him up with him to Bethel. He keeps telling him all along the way, you don't need to come with me. And then he goes from Bethel down to Jericho. So let's look at the map of this. Gilgal is probably right about here, about 800 feet below sea level. They hike up to Bethel, and then down, which is about 2,800 feet above sea level, and then down to Jericho, which is 600 feet below sea level. And there they keep talking about, all along the way, they keep talking about how Elisha is going to go away, and or Elijah is, and Elisha says he knows it. When they get to Jericho, oh, wrong one. This is Tel Jericho then. This is where the Old Testament city was, all along here. And you can see it was called the City of Palm Trees, just a lush, fertile place. And the Jordan River is right along here. Alright, so Elijah is going to go across the Jordan River. He parts the Jordan. Elisha goes with them. We'll talk about all of that in class. We're just doing the geography. Then when they come back across, so let's see here, I have some pictures of the Jordan right in that area. This is much smaller and muddier than it would have been in their day because it's all irrigated by now. This is where we baptized my daughter right there. But anyway, it's all irrigated now. So that before this, so it's teeny. It would have been a bit larger at that point. In any case, they finally get there, and you have the story of Elisha healing the spring. Let's see here. So this is that spring. They've got a spring house around it now. But here's the water coming up from the spring right there. That's the source of the water. This is the water that Elisha healed that made it so that they could keep growing. And the water flows out this way and comes out of the spring house and goes across the way to this fountain they have built right outside of Tel Jericho. So it's just right, literally right across the street from the old town of Jericho. And today you can drink water from the fountain. This is a little drinking fountain they had set up. They've stopped it now. That's my wife drinking water from Elisha's well. It's still good water. Then you get the northern and southern kingdom that they fought against each other and got allies from all around them to fight against each other. Finally, they realized that this is really causing them problems. So now they're allying to get back at all of the people who they used to control that now they've lost control. So they will go to battle together against Moab because they've lost control of Moab. Elisha will then end up spending a lot of time in Gilgal, down by Jericho, and up in Shunem. We'll talk about several miracles that happen in Shunem, just to give you an idea of where that is. Here's Jerusalem, Jericho and Gilgal right around here. They have Gilgal here, but most people think it's right around here. I'm convinced it can't be up here. Anyway, and Shunem is way up here, not far from Galilee. This is an hour-and-a-half drive on a good, fast road. So it's not too far south from Nazareth. It's right at the foot of this hill here. Let me just show you another map here. This is the hill of Moreh, and you can see Shunem is just right on the edge of that hill there. So that's where Shunem is. To use the Google Earth, you can see Shunem right here. Here's Moreh, and just right off it is Shunem. A big town is built up around there today, and it's right next to one of the bigger places in Galilee, Afula. We then get the story of Naaman the Syrian coming and being healed as he washes in Jordan. So you remember here we have Shunem. If we were to zoom out, and we don't know where Elisha is when he comes to him, but he's coming from Damascus area all the way down to wherever Elisha is at the time, and then he washes in the Jordan. We get some more stories of miracles and so on, and then we get this battle, this war that's continuing on between Syria and the northern kingdom, and Elisha keeps telling the king of the northern kingdom where the Syrians are so that they can avoid them, and that's where we'll pick up with the next video. To continue on, the war is going on between Syria and the northern kingdom, and Elisha keeps warning them how to get away from the Syrians. The Syrians figure this out. They are not happy with it, and they want to get Elisha to stop this. All right, so if we go to our little map script program, We see that Elisha is now in Dothan. Ooh, so we zoom right in there, but we'll zoom back out a little bit so you can get an idea of where this is. It's way out in the mountains around here, okay? So it's in between Galilee and the Dead Sea, kind of in the north, almost to the Galilee area, which is up here, but up in the mountains. And that's where, in these mountainsides, where there's so many valleys and so on, that's where they think they can surround him, is somewhere right around here in one of these valleys. They think they can surround him when we get this marvelous story that they're protected by hosts of fiery chariots. I'm not having you read all of these chapters, but just to get you the storyline, Elisha prophesies that Samaria will prosper and do well, and miraculously the Syrians are defeated and have to flee from them. Then he prophesies a famine, but the Shunammite woman there in Shunem, she'll be preserved in the famine. We've already looked at that place. And then Jehu is going to be anointed to be king over Israel, and this is how they will lose the Omride dynasty and start the dynasty by Jehu, who kills them right in the field of Naboth, where Jezebel had helped Ahab steal a field. And then all of Ahab's descendants are killed as a result, and you get this continual switching of dynasties. But they continue to worship golden calves there. And we're going to stop for a minute. For a minute, I'm not going to show any pictures, but I'm going to try and describe some complicated things going on. What's happened, and this is part of why there's some more alliances, is that we've had an intermarriage here between the two kingdoms that becomes important. Back in the southern kingdom, Jehoshaphat, his son Jehoram, marries Ahab's daughter. Remember, very, very wicked King Ahab. His daughter marries Jehoram, and as a result, Jehoram, or also called Joram, starts to rule wickedly. He's influenced by this wicked group. And so we have some problems there. When Jehoram, or Joram, dies, his son takes the throne. Now, this gets a little complicated. See, Ahaziah is the nephew now of the king of Israel because of this intermarriage. And that's part of why the alliance becomes strong, is that they start to this nephew and uncle go to battle against other people. So, for instance, they go to war against Hazael of Syria. Hazael has been anointed king of Syria by Elisha, who prophesied that he would do a tremendous amount of damage to Israel, and he does. And so this is why we get all of these alliances. In any case, when Jehu, who is anointed to be king by Elisha in the north, when he kills both Ahaziah and Joram, so this nephew-uncle combination, Ahaziah's mother, who is the daughter of Ahab, the sister of the king in the north, see, I tell you it gets a little complicated, but anyway, she goes a little bit bonkers. And she kills all of the descendants, at least she thinks she kills all the descendants there in Judah, the royal descendants, and becomes queen, puts herself on the throne. What she doesn't know is that some loyal supporters have taken one of the king's sons, Joash, and hidden him away. And when he reaches the age of 7, Jehoiada the king, or the priest, anoints him king, and they get rid of Athaliah, this crazy queen who had killed everybody, and they put him on the throne, and he is righteous and tries to get everybody to serve God. Now, Hazael of Syria is taking over lots of cities, both in the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Joash, who has been repairing the temple and getting rid of idolatry, has to buy him off so that he doesn't destroy Jerusalem. Then Joash dies, and his son Amaziah takes the throne. I won't take you through all the lists of different kings and who they are, but we end up with a king named Joash, also in the north, who's been fairly wicked. But when Elisha has fallen sick and is about to die, Joash comes down and he's weeping over him, and he recognizes him as a great and valuable leader. And Elisha prophesies that he will have some success against the Syrians, and finally the Syrians quit harassing Israel so much. That's where we'll end for today.